magazine online. And I'm the retired publisher from Lima News. And I just want to give you a little bit different look at the value of Bowling Green, what you've done for us. Through your programs with the communications, we've hired a lot in my tenure as publisher at the Lima News, and now as publisher at 419, some of your students that have come forward to be our interns. The value that brings to this community, the insight they bring, and perhaps they're part of the issue wanting to use an iPhone, but we really appreciate that. And I don't want to see that go away, because I guess that could go away with the program. In fact, you don't have WO. As I understand, the centerpiece is the public television station in that program. So I just wanted to bring that up, because I think it's much more far-reaching than maybe us, the average citizen in the community, would know. But one last thing I wanted to share, we put up just a small ad on our website. We're all digital, as I mentioned. And in 24 hours, just 24 hours, we had 12,588 people open and read that statement. Out of that, and I know you'll know what this means 174 liked the station, or liked the issue, and 41 actually shared it. Now that's in 24 hours. So I don't know where we're going to be by the time we get to September, but we really are behind keeping you alive, keeping the station alive, and you'll have our full support all the way. Thank you.
Thanks, Steve.
Hi, I'm Beth Reynolds, and I'm from Findlay, Ohio. We won't lose our service unless you go fully dark, but it's not just Findlay that's involved. But what I want to really address is that you keep mentioning what's best for the students and your responsibilities to them as students. And I have college students, so I understand that. But with them in mind, are we really being good stewards of this airwave that is there for them? As a nation, we have not been so illustrious in our history of seeing the current industrial standards and desires being met at the cost of unreplenishable commodities. When we've jumped too quickly and realized too late the value of those commodities. You can look at our oil industry, you can look at our water, you can look at our mining industries. They're only examples. The lumber. What will it cost us to then have to redefine what our area has if we lose the stations on those airwaves? The other point is, this is the first auction. The first auction. If it goes on, what are that these needs do continue, that there might actually be another one to be participated in that maybe would not create such dire effects on such a large community involved.
Thank you, Ms. Reynolds.
Thank you for having this forum. My name is Malika Muhammad. I'm here in Lima. When she came up and talked about Scenic Stop, that was my show. I learned more about Lima, and I was born here. But more was taught on that show that I didn't even know existed in Ohio. Now, I got married and raised my family in Ann Arbor, but I came back here. And to me, this station brings about truth. When you have the Neil Report, you have all the news things, you have Nova, you have all these programs come up. And when you're having your fundraising programs, you get the best of everything with all that. People need to recognize that. That's truth coming to you. And you have that right of that truth to make decisions and hear your own self. Nobody's telling you, like on other channels, are telling you, this is what happened, this is what you should think. It's not what you should think. It's what you need to feel. and what you need to feel inside of you to make it better. If it wasn't for, I see children here. These children need this quality education because they took away from the schools phonics and everything. So now they're wondering why Johnny can't read. Well, they took phonics out of school. But if Johnny can read from Sesame Street and learn phonics, then you can build on that and build these children up. And that's where my support is for these children. Yes, we've all been there. We got grandbabies, great-grandbabies, and everything. But it's time.
Thank you, Ms. Muhammad. Thank you very much.
My name is Barb Lemon, and I currently live in Bowling Green, but I grew up north of Findlay on a farm. I just want to read something and then ask a question. This is by Forrest Whitcraft. 100 years from now, it will not matter what my bank account was, the sort of house I lived in, or the kind of car I drove. But the world may be a different place because I was important in the life of a child. WBGU is important in 19 counties worth of families, old and young. Please don't take it away. And my question is, what is the dollar value of services obtained through WBGU for the university, BGSU, including filming of sports and other university activities? What cost is there to the university, and how much does WBGU make from that? And what would it cost if somebody else filmed football and basketball and whatever other activities and classroom things for you?
Yes, the services that the station provides to the university are about the level of the operating dollars that we provide now, which is about $422,000. There's also some money that changes hands, some additional funds that change hands between athletics and the station. I don't have the replacement cost for you of what it would be in the open market, but certainly it's a value, and that's something that we recognize that are services that we would need to replace.
Is there any way that the public could see a list of finances of where things actually go? Because we've been given very vague numbers at the previous meeting, and it would be nice for us to be able to compare apples and apples instead of just kind of, well, maybe it's kind of this amount. So I'm sure you have an accounting department that knows exactly. And how much are we, the public, allowed to know?
Is that my back on? There I am. As the president pointed out, our budget, the audited financials for the entire university are online, including WBGU's numbers. And if you just go to our website, bgsu.edu, and go to search finance and administration, you'll see in the left-hand navigation there, budgets, and you can click on those and go through and see, I think, find that fairly easily.
Thank you. My name is Steve Mackey from Lima. I grew up in a very remote part of the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. I mean, I had to drive 100 miles to go to McDonald's. So we didn't have access. Did you see? Yeah. So we didn't have access to public TV and public radio when I grew up. I didn't know what I was missing until I moved to Lima after graduating from the university. Unfortunately, my children lived here, and my children had access to public TV and all the great children programming that you have. I also now enjoy a lot of programming on public TV, especially Nature and Nova and Lawrence Welk and all the other musical programming programs you have. So I would hate to see that taken away from me and my grandkids. I now have 6 grandchildren, and so I hate to have them lose that. Thank you.
Thank you, Steve.
Hi, my name is Melanie Coker. I'm from Findlay, Ohio. I'm just really touched by seeing this packed room of people that really care about PBS. I learned at the last forum from somebody, and correct me if I'm wrong, there are 300 public television stations across the country that have been approached to sell their bandwidths, if I'm saying that correctly. And that's frightening to me. When I think about our little neck of the woods and WBGU covering 19 counties worth of minds of Americans, and what that would mean to the collective consciousness of our country if you stripped us of public television. So I think I have more to say about that in some other way, but I'm frightened by that.
That's not public televisions, that's 300 commercial and public.
Okay, great.
Everybody who's eligible.
Oh, gotcha, okay. I'm glad to hear that. I'd be interested to hear how many of those are public. I think I was in Findlay with everybody, and I came away from there, and I still felt like I had something that I wanted to say that I'm disturbed by. And that was that what I didn't hear was that I didn't hear BGSU come to us, the public, and say, we've been invited to this, and one of the options is that we sell it outright and that we go black, and we want you to know that we know the importance of public television, and we would never do that. I'm both surprised and disappointed in that. And I just needed to say that because I woke up 2 mornings with that bothering me. And I wondered, like, are the people that are making this decision, are they from here? Are they, like, if this was your community where you live, like so many people have lived for so long,
Could you type things up?
Yeah, you bet. I think that might have been it. I just, as the keeper of the licensure for public television, I see that as a sacred trust, and I believe that you have a responsibility to that.
My name is Bart Mills. I'm a proud graduate of Bowling Green State University and the father of, pray to God, a 2018 graduate of Bowling Green State University.
And do everything we can do to help you, Bart.
Yes, she's doing great. She loves it. First off, I'd like to ask in the room, how many of you people are actual financial donors to WBGU or BGSU? So, I mean, I think, there are a lot of people in the room who are, they're passionate about it, and that's wonderful, but they're passionate with their purses, and that's better, right? My question is, I spend a lot of time, I work as a marketer for a bank, and so I've got a couple of questions about sort of the due diligence that you've done looking into this. First off, have we looked into, because we talk about the expense of that station, but what is the value in terms of the market and branding of that station for Bowling Green State University? When we talk about the full value of 24 hours a day programming that you control and that talks about BG all the time. I mean, have we done that diligence? Can you give me a number?
About $1 million a year.
About $1 million a year. The other question is, has anybody looked into, we've talked about the fact that this is our very first auction, and we know we have a limited resource in terms of the electronic spectrum. So down the road, if I'm the guy who's selling coal, and coal is a limited resource, if I sell my coal in the first round, when everybody still has coal, the value is nice, but if I got the last chunk of coal in the room, the value is grand. Have we had any way of looking into what the real value could be down the road of the spectrum? And is it short-sighted for us to sell now?
I can address that, I think. Certainly that is our thought, that is something we're evaluating, but the FCC has also been fairly clear that no future auctions are planned. They seem to have the belief that this one-time auction will take care of their needs with the changing technology. But certainly, you know,
I've known some crack addicts too. Just a little crack.
But certainly that's part of our thought process as well.
Well, thank you. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Barb.
I'll jump in. Good evening and thank you again. I really appreciate the opportunity to actually hold this kind of a forum. I was a little nervous when I saw the information in the newspaper that this decision was approaching, that it might be one of those that was made without a lot of public input, and I do appreciate the opportunity to be able to do this. I'm not going to repeat what other people have said.
Could you give your name and hometown?
I'm sorry. My name is Mary Ann Bradshaw. I am here from in Lima. It is my hometown, although I have actually lived in both Washington, D.C. and Chicago, and so I've seen public television in all of those places. And what I think is so neat is that Lima has one. I mean, we're not a huge community, and as I said, the fact that we have a public television station, I think speaks a lot about this community and what's important. And so, you know, again, I would love to see that continue, but my real point in talking is not to get into the nostalgia, because there's plenty of that. I mean, my kids grew up watching it, I grew up watching it, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. What I would like to speak a little bit more, though, is I have a student currently at Bowling Green State University. She's going to be a senior, and she is majoring in musical theater, which is part of the communications department. I don't know if people here are aware of the amazing reputation that Bowling Green has in the arts. They had a young student, well, she's a graduated senior now, actually won a national award for musical theater and has performed in the Kennedy Center because of her education at Bowling Green. And she's one of my daughter's friends, and that's just a really cool thing, you know. I mean, I've been to the Kennedy Center, it's like, whoa, to be able to sing there would be amazing. Anyway, my concern about this is how, and I know it's been mentioned already, but what is the impact then on recruiting future good students to Bowling Green? I have another daughter who is also going to be a freshman, not at Bowling Green. She's picked a different school because she's gone a slightly different route, but as we were looking at all the universities, she wants to go into stage management. And what we were looking at was schools that actually have working theaters, she's not positive about the stage part, but, or working radio stations, or working something where they can actually get experience right there on campus. Not in an internship someplace else, but they can get up, they can go there, they can practice, and that's what I would hate to see Bowling Green lose, because I know what a big impact that has on recruitment and the decisions that future college students make. And I would hate to see you guys lose that arts focus.
Thank you, Mary Ann. Good luck to your daughter. I wish we got the other one, if that's okay.
Hi, my name is Amanda Reynolds. I grew up in Findlay. I was at the Findlay Forum last week. I am currently going to be a junior at Penn State, majoring in meteorology. And BGSU and WVGU is a huge part of why I'm going into communications. I want to be a TV meteorologist, and that was a huge part of my life. But something I didn't touch on in Findlay that I kind of wanted to was the education that children are getting through PBS and WVGU specifically. I grew up, all I watched was PBS. I grew up watching Cyber Chase and Arthur, and that's what I learned from. That was a huge part of my life, and I think the educational aspects of WVGU is something that needs to be focused on. Not only for young children with those younger educational TV shows, but also TV shows, Brain Games? Is it Brain Games? I forget what it's called. But that and, I'm trying to think of other, Nova, like Nova Science Now, when I was a 5th grader, you wouldn't think that's something a 5th grader would watch, but I loved science, so that's what I wanted to learn. That's what I still have Nova Science Now on VHS tapes because that was still a thing when I was a child. So like, I feel like if that's not available to the children of the future, that's going to be a huge loss. And I think that's something that needs to be considered because the children of the future, little kids just like that, are going to end up going to a school like BGSU. And you want your students to have that kind of an upbringing, that kind of an education. And I think that's something that needs to be remembered and focused on.
Thank you, Megan.
Thank you again for this opportunity, Dr. Mazie. My name is Kay Van Meter. I am originally from Richmond, Virginia. I have lived in Lima for the last 25 years. I also work for a nonprofit arts organization called ArtSpace Lima. As an employee of a nonprofit arts organization, I know the influence the arts can have on entertainment and the enrichment of a community. Exposure to different people, music, theater, and cultures can help make a globally diverse world more cohesive. The arts on public television give us a better understanding of the world in which we live. Public television is a treasure. A public television station at a university offers students the ability to learn about broadcasting, programming, production, etc. Your university offers degrees in communications, journalism, public relations, and telecommunications. What a great resource WBGU is for those students. Why on earth would you think of depriving your students of this opportunity? That's my question.
Well, actually, you need to know that we are investing in all those disciplines. We currently have under renovation South Hall, which is a $26 million investment into those disciplines that you just referred to. And we're building a new convergence lab for them. So we're doing additional investments into those specific disciplines. And we just opened 4 years ago the Wolf Center, which is a showcase for the arts at BGSU. And yes, we do have outstanding arts programs.
So you do. So if the station goes dark, where's the opportunity for these students to do the hands-on?
No decision has been made
Yes.
to happen to stay